All right, so we have x squared minus 3 squared. Because it has a square, you have an x squared minus 3 with a 1 and an x squared minus 3 with an exponent of 2. Now, the term inside the parentheses is quadratic and you cannot factor it further. That means you can't just have a simple a up here. It has to be ax plus the next letter, which is b. Okay? Same thing here. The one inside the parentheses is a quadratic term, which you can't factor, so you can't just have a simple c in there. It has to be cx plus the next letter d. And with this, you could go on to like ex plus f, and so on and so forth. Okay? What you have to do next is pretty much the same. So let's multiply with the common denominator. All right, everything cancels here, everything cancels here. 1x squared minus 3 cancels there. All right, next, I have x cubed minus x equals ax plus b times x squared minus 3 plus cx plus d times nothing, okay? All right, we FOIL, and we're going to do exactly what we did for the last problem that we had started last week. X squared minus 3. So here I have x cubed minus x is equal to, all right, we're going to FOIL this, right? So we're going to get ax cubed minus 3ax plus bx squared minus 3b plus cx plus d. Now, let's group terms according to their exponents of the x. So we have an ax cubed and nothing else with an x cubed. How about the x squares? We just have a bx squared. How about the x's? We have a negative 3ax plus a cx. And then the constants, we have a negative 3b and a d. Okay, and I usually I count in the step above. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms here. Okay, this is equal to x cubed minus x. Now go ahead and factor some of this. So here there's nothing to factor. For the bx squared there is nothing to factor because you only have one of each of those terms. From here we can factor out an x. So this is plus negative 3a plus c times x plus, or just minus 3b plus d. Okay? Now we're going to match term with term. Okay, so let's start with the x cubed term. What's the coefficient of the x cubed term here? A. And what about here? It's a 1, right? So I say a is equal to 1. Great. All right, what about the x squared term? On the right, on the right, it's b. On the left, there is no x squared term. That means its coefficient is 0. So we say b is equal to 0. Next, I have the x term. Here, the coefficient is negative 3a plus c. What is it here? Negative 1. So negative 3a plus c equals minus 1. And then finally, my constants are what? Negative 3b plus d. And what do those equal? 0. Okay? So now, this is b equals 0. Negative 3a plus c equals negative 1. Yes? No? All right. So, b is the coefficient of the x squared term. Okay? Where is the x squared term on this side? It's non-existent. It doesn't exist. That means its coefficient must be a 0. Okay? Okay. So I have a equals 1, b equals 0. What's c then? 2. Negative 3a plus c is equal to negative 1. Negative 3 plus c is equal to negative 1. C is equal to 2. And then I have negative 3b plus d equals 0, but b is 0, so how much is d? 0 as well. All right, so let's write this stuff down. All right, going back to my original fraction, I have here ax plus b, right? Okay, so ax plus b, my a is 1, so 1x plus 0, b is 0, over x squared minus 3. You totally can. I'm just doing one extra step so people see what I'm doing, okay? And okay, so you have an ax plus b here, right? What's a? And b? 0. Okay, so 1x plus 0 plus, what's my c? 2x plus d is 0 over x squared minus 3 squared. Now, let me tell you something. I wrote this like this once to show you guys. I never want to see this again because this is, I mean, it's so middle school, right? We don't do this. So just, you know, just tell me that this is x over x squared minus 3 plus 2x over x squared minus 3 squared. And that's your answer. Okay? So this, you know, if you want to write it somewhere else for yourself, totally fine. You know, don't show me. Okay? That's what I want. All right? Okay, so with that now, if we review what we did. All right, so if we go back to the beginning of this lesson, all right, here are all the different cases that we have. You have a denominator with linear factors, and this is how you solve it. It's just, you know, like an x minus 5 and an x plus 4. That's the most straightforward. We put in values in order to make one of the variables go away. So that's the first one. If you have a denominator with linear factors, if you ever have an improper fraction, no matter what, you have to do long division first, okay? This is the one most people forget. This is where we see most of the mistakes. So then you have a denominator with linear factors, okay? And then you have your denominator with the quadratic factors, which is the last one that we did, okay? Yeah. No, you have to divide all the way. You have to divide all the way. It's usually not going to be more than 1 or 2 steps, but you have to continue all the way. You still do it the same way, okay? And you just get, you know, like you'll have, for example, negative 2x plus 3 up here, okay? Plus blah, 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 all right? But you have to continue until the remainder has a degree that is less than the degree of this divisor, okay? So the degree here in the remainder has to be less than the one here. That's when you know to stop, okay? All right, so the homework at the end of this section is going to be due tomorrow, okay? What's tomorrow? Thursday? So this is due Thursday. All right.